He got it through 3 defenders and a goalkeeper. Not chance.
Yep, we are live. I know that we are discussing FIFA World Cup 2022 because that's where the action is going to heat up today. You've got two great quarterfinals lined up. Brazil versus Croatia and the Oranje versus La Albiceleste.
And Shane and I have had to deal with the FIFA syndrome for a while now.
Right.
It's difficult to get rid of it.
Of course, you're just so focused on everything FIFA related
That you tend to forget that there is equal amount of cricket action all over the globe.
No, you can never forget. You can never forget.
Mumbai, Multan, you may say Chattogram and also Adelaide. We saw baseball backfire in Multan. We saw...
Did it backfire or was it just good bowling?
It was good bowling, but then you have to play the same problem against spin. That's what happened. And a certain Abra Ahmed took 7 for 114. And by the way, he joins a very elite list of bespectacled players impressing on debut. I mean, Narendra Hirwani wore spectacles. He got 8 for in both innings, got 16 wickets. Abrar took first 7 wickets, but then Zaid Mahmood after that took 3 wickets. And that's why he couldn't get all 10.
He was very close to getting a hat-trick also, right?
Zaid Mahmood was, yes. Adelaide, we saw Marnus Labuschagne, the number 1 batter, become why he is the greatest of now at this point in time, and his head century combined with Travis Head's century ensured Australia 511 for 7. But our focus now, apart from the Mumbai T20 between India and Australia, the women's will shift to Chattogram.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot to talk about if you think about it. Even that women's T20 series, 5-match series, 2 months to go for the World Cup, they have no head coach.
Yes, they have only Rishikesh Kanitkar
as their batting coach, but there's no head coach.
There is no head coach. I mean, it can help because...
So when people ask, can things become more chaotic? The answer is always yes.
But if you look at it, the Indian cricket team won the 2007 World T20 without a head coach. Lalchand Rajput was the manager.
He was the manager then. Yeah.
But still, that remains India's only World T20 title. And it came prior to the IPL. And 15 years we have seen India, that fearless brand of cricket that they played in 2007, it's now evolved or mutated into something, fearing for our wickets, fearing for our spot, the fear of failure. And in addition, rest, rotation, chaos, injury, all that has now combined into a pot boiler which has now resulted in the third ODI becoming totally irrelevant in this.
And normally you would think that, in India-Bangladesh ODI series, there's every chance that this series would be redundant anyway. But you wouldn't think India would be the one on the losing side of things.
Yeah. I mean, first time after 7 years. I mean, it's like a cycle, like what Vikrant sir had said, that it was a cycle. Remember 2015? India were hammered in the semi-finals
and then
lost 2-1 to Bangladesh in the ODIs here.
Yeah.
And here same. Hammered by England in the semi-finals.
I think now this match has become more about face saving now.
Yeah, of course. Playing for pride.
You don't want to be whitewashed in Bangladesh. So you're playing for pride. That's no disrespect to Bangladesh, but
see, the problem is, look, India had that problem of plenty, which we were saying. That is haunting India in a very, very
But you need
way.
plenty right now, which is why we are here to talk about replacements.
Replacements.
If you don't have that plenty, you can't have replacements.
I had said prior to the T20 World Cup, BCCI's resource management will be tested. And so far, looking at it, if you have to grade them, sorry, I think it's a straight D for me when it comes to BCCI resource allocation, because Rishabh Pant ruled out. Because on medical grounds, we still don't know the injuries.
No, we still don't even know if it was medical grounds, because now it's turned out that it was a quote-unquote personal issue.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things floating around, which is classic.
Classic BCCI. But you don't pick Sanju Samson.
Yeah, that's the mystery.
No, what's even better is you have a backup wicket keeper there. You don't pick him either.
Yes.
You make KL Rahul keep wickets. He's not done it in a year at this point.
And KL Rahul has said, the team management has asked me to prepare for this role. Then that means, have you discarded Sanju Samson?
No,
have you discarded Ishan Kishan?
To be fair, I mean, team management asked a lot of things. I mean, team management also told Sanju to prepare as a finisher. And now his career seems
And
finished.
you're not even drafting him then?
Now his career seems finished. No?
Yeah.
That's the problem. And so that is why, look, Sanju Samson not in. But you have an India A tour going on currently in Bangladesh.
Yes.
And that is where India will have to get the core of the side. Because look, let us have a rundown of we have a rundown in TV. What's the rundown of injuries? Shami out
Beforehand.
before the start of the series.
Pant pulls out last night.
Pant pulls out. Jadeja out. Still yet to recover.
Jadeja
from
was, chalo, we
But
were,
see, Jadeja Bumrah long term. So just talk about
yes,
the ones who,
we just
even
saw
that itself
happen.
is a list.
Yeah.
You
that
know,
is a
okay.
list.
Deepak Chahar.
Deepak Chahar, Rohit Sharma. Now Kuldeep Sen.
And to be fair, the only freak one there was Rohit.
Yes.
Because that's an unavoidable kind of thing. There's not
That
much
can
you
happen
could
to
have done.
anyone. Exactly. In a match situation, in a match circumstance, it can happen to anyone. He went for a catch, it hit his thumb, and yeah.
And Kuldeep Sen, after bowling 6 overs, has suffered a stress reaction to his back, and he has been ruled out for the entire series. 6 overs.
Deepak Chahar in 3 in the second
3 overs. He couldn't even bowl a full T20 quota. And even there is a rundown to Deepak Chahar's injuries.
Yeah.
Because what has happened?
It's a proper timeline one can
Stress fracture on his back.
Yeah.
That ruled him out for the entire IPL. When he came back in the Zimbabwe series, what happened? He again bowled in just 2 games.
You have a replacement there, by the way.
I'll come to that later. So, and then during the South Africa series, got injured. I think he twisted an ankle or had a side strain. Didn't go to Australia. Here, hamstring. Every part of his body has been decimated in this last 1 year. So, that is Deepak Chahar. On top of that, second, KL Rahul, himself coming off injuries.
Yeah.
Himself.
And you're now making him add keeping responsibilities as well. Brilliant.
Add to that captaincy.
I think that is why
Potentially,
he
yeah.
didn't open the batting.
Because he had kept the wickets of
He had
50
kept
overs.
wickets, captaincy, you want to open. Man,
lot
that's
of-
asking a bit too much, honestly.
But people have done that in the past.
Yeah, I mean, you have Josh Butler who does it all the time.
Yeah.
You have Quinton de Kock also, you used to
Who
do
used
it.
to do it. Yeah, correct. I
But
don't think that's it.
I don't know, maybe Rahul's just too scared about his
Adam
fitness at this
Gilchrist.
point in time. But he never captained.
He never captained. Yeah. The
He
captain.
never captained. He was keeper and he was the opening batsman
Agreed.
only in ODIs.
Even in tests, he used to come like 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
KL Rahul, opening, he used to bat T20s like an ODI. Where he gets an ODI, he bats at number 4. Why?
And 5 in this case.
4 or 5. Why? That also is another problem. So 6 injuries. 6 injuries prior to Chattogram. And see what has happened. You now have to get Kuldeep Yadav in, who's
Yes,
only
Kuldeep
played 7 ODIs in 2022. Just 7 ODIs. And against whom he's played? 3 against Zimbabwe, 3 against South Africa, and 1 against the West Indies.
That South Africa series will happen in India.
Yes, where he took 4 wickets in that Delhi ODI.
In the Delhi T20. yeah.
ODI. That series, remember, before the World Cup, when Delhi was pounded by 3 days of rain. See what happened. So, there are also reports coming in that Saurabh Kumar, he might replace Ravindra Jadeja in the ODI, in the test match that's happening. Because Saurabh Kumar was the guy who got 6 wickets and ensured India a 1.
What about Shabazz?
I think they're not persisting with Shabazz.
Then, but why? What's the reason? Has he given you a reason to not persist with him?
Has anybody given us a reason why Rahul Tripathi is on the bench?
Where do you play him?
Where do you play him? See, your top order is covered, right?
He's
You could
literally only a back.
actually, but you could bat him up top. Now that Rohit won't play in the third ODI,
I would say Ishan Kishan has a better case than.
Ishan. But remember, he was there on the Ireland tour as well. He didn't get a game.
He's not been getting a game ever since
been
that.
managing-
He's been part of 3 teams now.
Three teams
different,
now, but he's not been
tours,
getting
but
a
not
chance.
He didn't even play in the Zimbabwe series, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
That was an opportunity where you could have gotten Tripathi in.
But even there, they went for the safety first. Let's look to win the series.
And see what has happened because of that. And see, this is the reason. You may announce all the replacements that is there, but who are you going to play? Rajat Patidar, what is he doing there?
Again, you have so many top order batsmen.
Yeah.
When you have your core back, by the way, because you have your top 3 before the series, you had a Virat, you had Rohit, you had KL back. You note for a fact Shreyas Iyer has pretty much always been the first backup, which means that in absence of Surya, he's 100% starting. So why then did you feel the need to have so many top order batsmen in the squad?
Yeah.
If they're not going to get a shot to begin with, or maybe just maybe they thought that they'd rest them in the third ODI once we win the series, and then we'll give both of them their debuts. That's not happening either.
I mean, look at the problem now. Okay, if that is the case, then it is gross overconfidence. Gross overconfidence, because how can you say that we are going to win and then we'll rotate the players based on that?
Or it's either that, or it's a classic case of misinterpretation of the situation.
Misinterpretation of the situation, or mishandling of the situation.
An overestimation of your own.
Overestimation. I mean, look, even those Australian players, even in their peak, they were not rested and rotated that often. McGrath played against Zimbabwe, 3 ODIs. What was the need for him? But he still played. Okay, T20s, but then yet again, your priorities then are a big issue. Are you going to rest and rotate players based on T20s? Then that's a wrong precedent you're setting. And look, as I said, the schedule, 26th, you're finishing with the test matches. 7 days later, what's happening?
ODI or T20.
Sri Lanka versus India, the grandest series of all time. 3 T20Is first and 3 ODIs.
Yes.
After that, a 5-day gap.
And then
again an ODI
got
series.
3 ODIs and 3 T20s.
Again ODIs, then
Wonderful.
T20s.
Then after about 1 week,
Then Australia come.
I don't get that schedule at
4
all.
tests.
No, of course I get it. It's about maximizing TV revenue.
No, again, the New Zealand series and the Sri Lanka series was apparently, we missed out on the COVID situation. That's why we have had prior commitments. Now, are the players going to be supremely fit? No. Again, you are going to play with that same core what you are establishing in July, August. And when
And
you
even
play
then,
the
you're
core,
lucky. If you're lucky, you're playing with
The
that.
core that was never meant to play.
the core that is not meant to play. That's what's going to happen. So now there is a replacement, but where do you fit that replacement?
I think right now it's pretty easy. See, because Kuldeep Sen, right, he was replaced by Umran anyway because he didn't play the second ODI.
Yeah.
So Kuldeep Sen out of the picture, even if he gets injured, he probably wasn't starting because I'm pretty sure Umran was their priority.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Deepak Chahar gets injured. That opens up automatically a slot for another bowler. Assuming you want to bring in, I don't think you have any more pacers.
You don't have
Yeah,
pacers.
so that means Kuldeep Yadav comes in there. Simple.
Yeah, you'll have to play because you don't have any pace bowling option on the bench.
Exactly. You don't. You had.
Unless, of course, you do something just out of the box. You bring in somebody from the India A squad. There is,
Mukesh Chaudhary.
But then
There
wouldn't
is
you have to
Mukesh
do that?
Chaudhary.
Wouldn't you have to announce that by a certain point?
they've not done that yet. But
They haven't
again, they're in the same country. Like
No, I get your point, but they still have to announce it to do
Yeah, I mean,
something.
see, Washington Sundar came
it's a
for press
bilateral
conference
series,
today.
remember, so they can do it any point perhaps.
Then if they do it tomorrow morning, it'll be a real surprise.
Surprise.
Washington
you
Sundar
got
came
Navdeep
today.
Saini as well.
Yeah, you got Navdeep Saini.
So those two are options.
How
People
much has
with
Saini
experience.
played white ball
So
cricket?
Saini himself has been struggling with a lot of injuries
Yes,
recently.
yes.
Then now we're reaching the point where West Indies did, where they recalled Omar Phillips as a fielding emergency.
I know. There is a backup problem which is injured. India has got plenty of backups. In the batting, there is a backup for a backup, but in the bowling, the backup is injured. Even the backup for that is injured.
It's poor team selection.
And that was the case, by the way, a couple of months back as well. Deepak Chahar was your replacement and then he got injured.
And to be fair, it's poor team selection because you've come, and I'm sorry, but you've come into a tour in Bangladesh where you note for a fact you got slow low turners. You don't have one single full-time spinner in the squad. Now you do that too after so many injuries.
It's a forced change. It's a forced addition. Let's say
Their prior plan was that we will have
because
three
it's
bowling all
a couple of
rounders.
answers that the BCCI has to give and they won't give. We know that. One, why was Yuzi Chahal rested after the World Cup? What was the need?
I mean, he's barely played. He didn't play a single World Cup game. He barely played New Zealand tour. I shouldn't even count.
It was a washed out tour
Exactly.
anyway. So why is Yuzi Chahal not there? Don't know when we'll get those answers. Again, there's a new selection committee now. If at all they deem it fit for this question to be answered, they will probably take this question. Otherwise, they won't even take it. But
Look, the problem is, see,
where is Sanju Samson?
no, again, where is Sanju Samson? He's back here.
And
in
what
India.
is the reason?
And picked in the Kerala squad for the Ranji Trophy.
Yeah, and what was the reason? What was the reason behind not taking a full-time spinner? You had a Sundar, you had a Shahbaz, but they were both
And Akshar too.
And Akshar too,
So you had
exactly. So three
spin bowling all-rounders.
bowling all-rounders you had. So that to spin bowling all-rounders, but not a full-time spinner.
Because their plan was we'll pack the team with all-rounders, spinners. We'll have 2 spinners. And the problem with that approach is also, you know what? What if Washington Sundar gets injured? But to be fair, that man gets injured by a stiff breeze.
Then you're hamstrung.
Exactly.
You are essentially propping, as they say, no, you have to build a big statue. You're propping them up with some bits and pieces, nuts and bolts. You got Deepak Chahar in that situation. You got Washington Sundar in that situation. What are you going to do? If one gets injured, your backup is also injured.
The problem.
That's the problem. And what Madan Lal, the 1983 World Cup winning member, he's won you countless games for India. He said, for a captain to blatantly say that we have to get to the bottom of why are there so many injuries? What is the NCA? What are the trainers doing? And where is the coordination between India A and the India senior?
Look, there is none. There is none.
Considering Rahul Dravid was the guy who insisted on India A and the junior tours getting much more precedence.
You know what else he insisted on? Using the NCA more often than not.
Yeah.
And not a coincidence that as the NCA has started gaining more and more importance, you are now seeing more and more of these players actually prop up injured. I'm pretty sure now you are understanding why.
It's appalling that it's happening in Indian cricket.
Yeah, I mean, then it shows how little care you give to the NCA.
Exactly.
No, see, you have been presented with a massive buffet, but you're having the wrong dish.
No, there's no buffet. This is a mismatch. There is no planning because your NCA chief, who previously was Dravid, is now your coach. Your current NCA chief is called up on an interim basis when Dravid wants a rest.
Yeah.
So who's really overseeing the NCA?
Ramesh Pawar is back in the NCA now.
Somehow.
Yeah.
I don't understand the logic of that move even now. You was doing a decent enough job as the coach. You've removed
the
him
women's
2
team, right?
months before the World Cup. There is so much chaos.
Yep. But then really, does the sacking of a coach affect the balance of the team?
Of course it does, because see, to be fair, look at it this way. Pawar, this is not the first time he's been removed unceremoniously. It happened after that ODI World Cup, the Mithali Raj incident.
Yes.
He got removed, then got brought back. At this point, it's a next level rotation chair. Like, I'll use a reference from another sport. The Indian team women's head team coach, the head coach position is like the Ferrari team principle. So you'll have one person after the other coming in. No one is really able to do anything because
I thought you'd take it to football and talk about the Chelsea manager.
But to be fair, Chelsea, how many managers do we really sacked in recent times?
You sacked 2
See, Tuchel was also new management. No?
Yeah.
They clearly wanted Potter. So any reason they got, they took.
So that is the thing. Look, as far as our replacements are concerned, look, we may have our own set of replacements, but then are the BCCI listening?
No, or better yet, what will they do? Because again, I can never predict what it is that they're going to set up their team as.
You have Rahul Tripathi, you have Rajat Patidar.
See, neither of them, I can bet the house on it, are getting a game tomorrow. Neither of them. Neither of them. It's a fact. You're not.
Yeah.
And your top order replacement they'll either tell Rahul ki you open
with Dhawan. And Shreyas Iyer comes in. Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer.
Yeah.
So number 3 and number 4. Number 5, Washington Sundar. Number 6.
That happened the other day.
Yeah.
Akshar Patel, number 6.
Number 7, then Shardul. Oh man, that's a very shallow batting lineup.
7. And then who are your bowlers? Kuldeep Yadav at 8. Then
you're not playing Shahbaz.
Siraj, and you have Umran.
Siraj, you have
then
Umran.
there's space for one more, then.
Yeah, there is, but who will be that?
It can't be a pacer. That means you're playing 3 spinners tomorrow.
3 spinners. You'll have to play 3 spinners tomorrow.
Then you'll have to play Shahbaz then.
You have to play Shahbaz.
Or Akshar, they just stick with Akshar.
Washington, Shahbaz, Akshar, Shardul. You're playing with 3 pacers and 3 spinners.
Yeah, but to be fair, is that a bad strategy in Bangladesh? It's not really.
It's not really. Bangladesh adopted that strategy.
Exactly.
In the second ODI, we saw them come out with more spinners than India did. India had, I think, 3 seamers in the ranks. They played with only 2.
Yeah. And one thing,
and plus Shardul we had.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Kuldeep will give you something that India have lacked horribly in the last 2 matches.
Variety.
No, a middle overs wicket taker. Who is your middle overs wicket taker?
So this is where the problem is. The Kuldeep Yadav inclusion case becomes a lot more
easy,
potent because of 2 factors.
One, you need an extra spinner.
11 to 40 ever since 2022. Overs 11 to 40. What has been India's economy rate in that period? 5.56.
That's expensive.
That's very expensive. And on top of that, even at home, it comes to 5.07. So imagine the lack of penetration that is in the middle, and who has been penetrative in the middle overs? Shardul Thakur. For 2 years, 26. But when he didn't fire, the death over suffered.
And to be fair, now more often than not, you seem to be using him as a death overs bowler.
Yes.
Despite the fact that he's never been a death overs bowler, he'll always get pumped in the bat.
He still does a decent job at times.
No,
He did
at
the other
times, but
day.
he's hit or miss in the death.
Yeah.
That's the problem. He's better off as a middle overs person.
Yes,
Because why is the middle overs conundrum a big issue? In both the games, India had reduced Bangladesh to a very, very losable situation. But in the middle overs, what happened?
They could conserve.
Mehdi and
Hassan
Mahmudullah. And remember,
148 run stand.
and more importantly, that 148 runs, 93 were in singles and doubles.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is
Also,
the major thing.
like you were pointing out the other day, that also tells you that there wasn't proactive captaincy. You weren't thinking enough on the
Wait,
ground.
you're talking about the second ODI.
The second
right?
ODI.
That was the one where KL Rahul was
Yes.
captaining. I rest my case. He's never been a proactive captain.
So that's the thing
man.
again. If there's a pair in front of you, just knocking the ball around comfortably, absolutely unfazed.
You have to look for an
changing
attacking
strike.
option.
Exactly. Firstly, you didn't have an attacking option.
Exactly.
You didn't have a spinner to
And whose
attack
fault is
with.
that?
Exactly. And second of all, yes, you didn't have the right fielding in place to stop that strike rotation. What does Virat Kohli do? He rotates the strike when he is not able to time the ball. Or if he's playing to a certain strategy, then you got to have the right fielding in place.
And in ODIs, you have all that time in the world because the middle overs is, as you said, 11 to 40. There is 30 overs of middle overs where if you really want, you can tip-tap the ball around till, hell
The
freezes
cows go
over.
home, yeah.
And then after that, once it's the death, you go hell for leather.
Bang, bang.
What's
That's
the
what
problem?
happened. That is what happened. So, who will control that 5.56 economy rate?
It has to be Kuldeep.
it has to be
Kuldeep.
a specialist spinner. It has to be.
And Kuldeep, in his time, whenever he's performed, he's taken wickets. So, Kuldeep
And these kind of pitches would really suit him.
and
And by the
Aksar,
way, you can't
Shahbaz,
let-
Washington.
You can't let go of these opportunities, series after series. Again, you don't want to be making the same mistake that you made in last year's T20 World Cup, then in this year's T20 World Cup, not relying on a specialist spinner.
Or
That
wrist
would-
spinner, more importantly.
Exactly.
So, again, remember, we might play 7 spinner bowlers.
Bowlers.
Because what is it? Washington Sundar,
Let's
Aksar
start
Patel,
bottom to top. You've got Umran,
Siraj,
That's
Shardul.
Shardul.
That's your pacers.
So 2 specialist pacers
Three
And
plus
one bowling all-rounder.
Shardul.
You count him as a bowling all-rounder.
Yeah.
Okay, bowling out. Okay, Umran, Siraj. That's your 2.
Umran Siraj. Then you got Shardul. 3.
Yes, 3. Then you've got
Aksar. 4.
Shahbaz, Washington, Kuldeep.
And Kuldeep.
Kuldeep.
That means you're playing 7 bowlers.
So that's a very thin batting
Thin
lineup.
batting lineup.
Very
It's a thin batting lineup, and but again, then you how many bowlers? Unless you decide, okay, I drop one of the left arm.
Yeah,
either
Shahbaz doesn't play,
But
and then
but then you're handing a debut to someone,
you're handing a debut to Rahul
Rahul
Tripathi.
Tripathi.
or you bring in Ishan Kishan.
Ishan Kishan.
Ishan Kishan. See, you either have to bring in either of those two because you can't function otherwise because
Yeah, because that 7 bowlers is too shallow a batting.
too shallow a batting
shallow batting.
and Bangladesh.
No, actually, you'll have to bring in one of the debutants because already Rohit is missing. No?
Missing.
Yeah.
So that if you assume Kishan comes in,
I think
KL Dhawan will open and Kishan at 3.
I
Shreyas
think
at
maybe
4.
I think
Rahul.
maybe Kohli with 3.
I
Kohli will
think
be at
Rahul.
3. Then you're wasting Ishan Kishan at 5.
So then I think then you'll bring in
Rahul Tripathi. Yeah, that's what
Tripathi then will have to
Rahul
come.
Tripathi.
Unless you take this thing and say Rajat Patidar, but I would
But
prefer
then
Tripathi.
Ishan could put his hand up and say, I can open as well for you guys. I did it in the T20s.
Why?
But 2 left-handers.
No problem. They put Pant and Kishan.
Yeah,
also
they
to
made
open.
Pant and Kishan open.
No, then what they'll do is they'll tell KL, look, you've been batting 5 at 5. You stay there. Send Ishan Kishan along with Dhawan. 3 Kohli, 4 Shreyas Iyer, 5 KL. Then again that number 6 you might just need
Shardul.
someone like
Then it'll be Shardul, then it'll be Washington.
Washington Shardul.
Yeah, either of those. Yeah, depending on
Washington at
who's there on the
6.
crease.
Shardul at 7.
Yeah, but Shardul 7 again really gives me thin batting vibes. It does.
But then where else will you
See,
place him
that,
then?
I
that's
get
all
your
you
point.
can do, but
Okay, then 7 you have Rajat Patidar.
No,
You
Or
are not
Shahbaz. Yes,
that-
Shahbaz.
you
Or
can't play
Aksar.
Rajat Patidar at number 7.
Or Aksar Patel.
No.
Then if that
Aksar,
happens,
of course, yes, Aksar
no,
can be
if
there.
that happens, then I think if you play another pure batsman, someone like a Patidar or Tripathi, you push them higher and Washington goes
Down, yeah. So
Because he
imagine
can play
that-
lower down.
But then the more people you try and push up the order, there is an Ishan Kishan whispering.
Whispering, yeah.
He's been whispering for a while, poor fellow.
That's the
Anyway, we can take.
So our replacements, there are not expected to be much in the batting, but I feel the bowling will have a total revamp.
Yeah, and no, batting also, I'm totally expecting. What if they throw a curveball and play both Tripathi and Patidar?
Then who sits out?
Then Ishan Kishan.
Then Dhawan out.
Then there needs to be an Ishan Kishan camp tomorrow.
I think they won't do something so radical because see, you're 2-0 down, you're playing for pride, you're playing for some face saving. So yeah, you've got to have.
All of us agree that Kuldeep is coming back.
Kuldeep is coming back.
But who's the other? We are not speculating on because I feel a game of chess is much easier. So let us take some comments. Shubham is like saying BCCI itself is conservative in its approach with same players and an Indian coach with the richest board. They can go for Bretley, Callis as well, but they won't. And team needs a reboot like 2000.
Why do you want to go for Bretley and Callis as a coach?
Exactly.
At least, say what you want. At least Baz McCullum had some coaching experience.
Exactly.
Callis hasn't coached a team since he left KKR.
Exactly.
And was ironically replaced by Baz.
And Lee Bretley is not had that kind of coaching experience.
Lee, I don't think wants to be a coach.
Yeah. But again, Shubham, we didn't have a reboot. It was a case of youngsters coming in at the right slots and who had experience.
It was a new era ushering in.
But even
the T20 era.
Yeah, and also, but
which is why you needed that sort of rejig, you needed that sort of an overhaul. The situation, that era, that time, it demanded all of that.
But again, that time, how much you still had players. If you're talking about
you had
Gambhir,
players. You had
Sehwag, you had Yuvraj,
you have Raina.
You had Raina.
All of these guys were.
And you had RP Singh, who was experienced. Irfan Pathan was.
Srishant had been playing a couple of years.
You had DK also.
DK.
The only real youngsters in those teams maybe Rohit.
Yes. Rohit. The times that he was bad in the middle.
Uttapa was there for 1-2 years.
Uttapa had also been there for a couple of years by that point.
Yes.
So they were not real youngsters. They had some experience.
They had a young captain called Mahendra Singh.
But even he was a young captain. He made his debut late. Remember, him and Yuvraj are more or less the same age, if I'm not wrong. But Yuvraj had been playing for a few years by that point.
2002. 2000.
Remember, he made his debut in the Champions Trophy in Nairobi.
84, Australia. How could you forget? It was Yuvraj, vintage Yuvraj at that time.
Yes.
Rahul Vasudev from Australia is saying things I like to see. Tripathi making his debut as opener, Kohli back to form, Washi consolidate, Umran used in middle, not depth, Kuldeep in and India win. Okay.
The problem with Umran being used in the middle right now is that you don't really have a death bowler. You have a pacer.
Exactly.
That's why they're using him there.
And you would want to make use of his raw pace at the end. Of course, that has its own negatives as well because and it happened multiple times and you can't really avoid that with somebody who bowls.
See, maybe Umran a burst of 3 overs in the middle. And then you use him 3 or 4 overs in the depth.
Yeah, but if you look at him, he's also had his most success for SRH when used in the middle.
But you know what he says? What Umran says? He likes bowling in spells.
Yeah.
Not 2-3 because he's like engine garam hone mein time lagta hai.
No, and he's not wrong.
So to bowl at 150 Ks and to have that, you can't just be like, okay, open the bowling for me, just come back.
But I have serious concerns about Umran Malik. I'll tell you why. Because how much exposure has he gotten to the first class rigors to his body? First class, Vijay Hazare, Syed Mushtaq Ali. We are all judging him on IPL.
I think the fact that you don't have Jasprit Bumrah right now in the ranks is what demands Umran Malik to be fast tracked.
The other reason being you don't have a pacer who can hit 150k.
Yes.
Simple as.
Yes. You have the same because I'm getting those vibes of Varun Aaron all over again with Umran Malik.
But then to be fair, Varun Aaron was never consistently back and had a lot of injury issues.
And even Basil Thampi?
No, Basil Thampi was 150.
No,
he was 150, but he was promising.
140 kmph.
He was promising. Again, very faded. Nobody knows.
He faded. He was the Mumbai Indians. Was a shadow of himself. So that is why Tripathi, debut as opener. Where will they really take that punt?
Because they could.
Tripathi
and Dhawan is not bad.
It's actually not bad.
I mean, man.
For some reason, it sounds more convincing than having Ishan and Dhawan bat. For some vague reason, I have no explanation.
See, Rahul Vasudev, that might happen. Tripathi as an opener. Kohli back to form.
If I'm in that camp, I'd go with that.
For 7 ODIs now, Virat Kohli is not gone past 20. He's back in form in T20s. But Indian garam ho raha in ODIs. Yeah. Washi consolidate.
See, the thing with Washi is, I've always said this, the kind of form he shows more often than not, he's a first choice player when fit because he gives you multiple options.
Yes.
The problem, the key here is when fit.
When fit. And remember, Washi played a bad shot in the first ODI. That is what led to the collapse. In the end,
that reverse sweep. That reverse.
He shouldn't have played that.
Also, both the times he's gone out to Shakib.
Yeah, Shakib.
Very funny. I mean, left-hander getting
but
Shakib is a wily operator. You have to give him that.
Okay, can we see some more questions, Anurag, and then we'll call it a day here because we have to focus on the FIFA World Cup. Why don't BCCI take brave decisions? Sanjay Swaminathan. we are playing too much conservative. The kind of players we have to dominate at all tournaments. Instead, we are just possessing enormous money power.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Brave decision, Sanjay Swaminathan. Brave and BCCI do not go hand in hand. When Virat Kohli was dropped as captain, it kind of looked brave, but was it foolish? I leave that to the judgment.
Hindsight has been very kind to Virat Kohli.
Yes.
I'll just say that.
Yes. What is the point of workload management? Aditya Kavlekar is saying in frequent rest, if he's not preventing players being injured, Aditya Kavlekar.
Good point, but the workload management and everything fair. But I think one of the reasons you're seeing so many injuries is because they seem to be rushing back players. I mean, look, let's be fair. Chetan, as I pointed out, Chetan Sharma before his removal did say very clearly that we tried to fast track Jasprit Bumrah back. So I'm pretty sure it's a thing. And you have to remember, India, despite it appearing to be like, oh, we have these riches of paces, we don't.
Yeah.
Look at the domestic system; it's dry.
It's dry.
There's really not much.
Then where is the next?
Where is Yash Dayal, by the way? He was there.
Yash Dayal injured.
Yash Dayal has been injured since the IPL pretty much.
No, but he was there in the New Zealand tour.
Oh, no, not Yash Dayal. Sorry, I'm confusing him with Mohsin.
Yash Dayal, I don't know why. I think he was suddenly sent back.
Yeah.
Suddenly sent back without any communication. So Rohit Roy saying MS and Virat didn't make us realize that a captain can get injured. They played cricket whole year, including IPL. Only after Virat steps down, we see different captains.
I mean, even with Virat, you would see him take breaks. Not all. Like, he would take breaks too, and Rohit.
He would.
Yeah, but I mean, even at that point, he didn't really have a lot of injury issues.
He didn't.
And form was an inside.
Virat was an alpha male when it came to fitness. He and MS Dhoni, alpha males when it came to fitness. But Dhoni was carrying a lot of injuries. I mean, he had injuries to his wrist, he had injuries to his fingers.
To be fair, towards the end of his career, it was pretty evident.
Yeah. But he still played.
He still played.
And played with that same intensity.
But as I said, you could see it towards the end, it was affecting him. And to be fair, it's it was going to. Batsman, and you're keeping wickets. You don't realize how rigorous a job that is.
And how thankless a job it is.
And imagine, he was a hustler and power hitter. Enormous strain on the body. And that's why you see his fitness was supreme. Austin Kunai, Rohit Sharma is ruled out of the Bangladesh Test series and he will continue streak of missing at least one test of every overseas test series since 2020. New Zealand, Australia, England, and now ban.
To be fair, Bangladesh should have
been. But we don't know about the test. We know.
It seems pretty likely he'll miss
it. It seems likely,
but we don't.
Seasoned out. Yeah. But no word officially as far as the BCCI is concerned.
Yeah.
They just
he
said
gets injured in the SENA countries. He'll just dispel that notion. He gets injured even in Asian countries.
As of now, the BCCI has only communicated that he is unavailable for the third ODI. He has been.
He's back in Mumbai.
He's back in Mumbai. He's seeing a specialist over there. He had a scan yesterday, and yes, there is treatment that's been given to him.
Akash Bharadwaj is saying, is it true that new coach for T20, best option Gary or Nehra?
Not true. I mean, we haven't.
See, the reports are not true.
It's all floating around. But I don't know.
But yeah, one thing that is gaining more and more, I can't say about these names, one thing that's gaining a lot of prominence is the fact that yes, you could be looking at split coaching also now.
Yeah.
If I were looking at split coaching, I'd divide red and white ball, which means your ODI and T20 captain.
Yes.
Your coach says the same, like again, England do.
Yes.
You have Mott as the thing and you have Baz as test.
Yep. And Dhanush, India needs aggressive opener like Sehwag, not Dhawan. I agree.
Because I have been talking about dropping Dhawan for ages. And people don't seem to agree. I can't see. I think he's auditioning for a spot on the test team at this point.
I don't think he doesn't have a spot on the test team.
He's not. I think the last time he played test matches, ironically, was against Bangladesh only.
I think it was 2017.
And it was against Bangladesh only.
Or Sri Lanka, was it?
One of them.
Or England. I think he played in England 2018.
Jesus, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions, Anurag, that we have? Let's just see. And is Hanuma Vihari dropped? What wrong did he do? Sanjay Sawant, good question.
To be fair, he fell victim to the intent. This thing.
Yeah, intent. India,
to an extent, Pujara also fell.
Yep.
So did Rahane.
Aditya Kavlekar, yes, India are struggling in all facets of the game. Indeed, catching, yes, that's one area where we have not focused.
Yeah.
Too many catches have been dropped.
Ashutosh Sharma has a valid point. Where is Prasidh Krishna?
Injured.
Again?
Yes.
He was doing so well in the ODI.
In the one series that he played, I guess.
Yeah.
No, it was expensive.
He played against England. After that, he just.
No, Zimbabwe too, if I'm not wrong.
What about West Indies, maybe?
He also played.
He was playing regularly in the ODIs.
But then he was expensive.
And then got injured.
Yeah.
So what? At least he was picking wickets. That's the thing. So that is about it. And the India women versus Australia women T20I is also going on. Let's see how that pans out. Shefali Verma, remember, is the under-19 captain. Can you believe it? She's played international cricket.
So much international
But she's the under-19 captain.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
kudos to Shefali Verma. Important series for both India and
Absolutely.
Australia because. And we are seeing Shefali Verma bowled for 21 by Elise Perry. Superwoman Elise Perry.
To be
And
fair, Perry's got both wickets.
Jemima has also gone for a duck. Six bowled duck. Wow. And you got
There is
Richa Ghosh.
Harman
By the way, Richa Ghosh is also in the under 19 World Cup squad. And I like her appealing style. You have to listen to it. It's really fantastic.
Chalo.
So that's about it. We'll be back tomorrow for the third ODI.
We are not going anywhere.
But Shane will be there
action.
for the two major games today, Brazil,
World Cup.
Croatia, and also we are also going to see Oranje versus La Albiceleste, Netherlands versus.
That's two big matches today, and I'll be joining you guys later
And
tonight.
tomorrow morning we will be hoping that it's not the last time Messi plays in the international arena. Fingers crossed
And
for
then,
that.
of course, tomorrow, we'll be looking forward to potentially, Portugal.
Yes, we're going to be
Morocco,
bringing
so-
you previews as well for those games.
Portugal versus Morocco and but the quarterfinal.
England
among all-
versus France.
Yes.
The
Yes.
geopolitical rivalries of that.
Yes.
is just-
The English Channel rivalry and EU and Brexit rivalry. That's all I will say. So thank you so much, folks. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis, and don't forget to press that like, comment, and share icon, and also don't forget to tap the bell icon so that you know when we go live. Thank you. Bye bye. Vanakkam.